Hey guys, I've got to tell you about this market I just did. It was definitely the windiest market I have ever done, and I know that in my last vlog I said that was my windiest market. It was at the time, but this one definitely was way windier even than that one was. So it was crazy, but it was also a really fun market. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the market, and then I will show you my booth, and then I will get into everything that sold and tell you how much I made. So if you saw my last market vlog, that was about my first spring market of the year, then you heard about me getting the opportunity to do another event. So this is the event that the guy had asked me to do at that market. So this event was for Canine Veterans Day, and it was at a new dog park. So I was super excited for this because I love dogs and I knew it was going to be a lot of fun. But I had never been to this dog park because it was new, and I really had no idea how windy it was going to be, and there was like no building or anything behind us to stop the wind. There was like a ditch behind us and then a road, and so there was like no building or anything to block the wind. It was insanely windy. So when we first set up, we put the tent up, and I have super heavy weights for it because I know how windy it can get in Oklahoma. So my weights are 50 pounds each, and I have 4 of them. So that's 200 pounds of weight to hold down the tent. Now that usually works, but sometimes the wind is even crazier than that, and this is one of those times. So we had the tent up and we put the weights on it. Then it was super windy coming from like 2 directions. So we decided to put a wall up on the side to block some of the wind. Well, that was not working. It was still super windy coming in from the back. So we tried to put on the second wall, and that is when everything went crazy. So it pretty much, by putting on the 2 walls on the windy side, the wind was just blowing so hard into the wall that it was bending the tent legs and pushing the wall in and bending the tent legs together. And so it was just not good. And I knew that it was not going to be good. And the tent was like trying to bend and blow away. So I was like, we've got to take the walls off. It's not going to work. It's not going to hold. So we took the walls off, and it took a while to get them off because they were literally like flapping around, like about to hit us in the face, and they have like metal pieces that you attach them with. So it was kind of crazy, but we finally got them off. Well, then the tent was still trying to blow away. So what we ended up having to do was put the tent down on 2 sides. So pretty much all the 4 legs were up straight, and then we lowered the 2 that were on the side to shorter, so the roof went like this. Now, it didn't go all the way to the ground, so there was still some wind coming in, and it was still trying to lift off the ground even like that. So honestly, the majority of the market, my boyfriend put his chair right there at that spot where we put it down, and he was like holding on to the bars like this to make sure that it didn't blow away, which is crazy. But I knew that if we took the tent away, like everything would blow away. Every single plushie would have blown off the table. Like, it would not have worked at all. So honestly, we contemplated just leaving because I was like, what are we going to do? I mean, if we don't have a tent, we can't put anything out. And if we can't put anything out, I'm not going to sell anything. But we decided to just make it work like that. And then I tried to put my plushies out, and some were blowing away and falling on the floor, even though I didn't put up my cubes. So usually I have my cubes that I go like 3 high and put plushies in there. I just knew it wasn't going to work, so I didn't even try to put those up. And so I ended up, I had a few of the little baskets out with the smaller items, and then all the rest of the items, I just had my totes sitting on the table, and I was like, you guys can dig through here and look through them, because there was no other way to display anything because it was all just going to blow away. It was crazy. I'm not sure if I got a video of the wind. I hope that I did. But it was just so crazy windy. Okay, so I will go ahead and put in the video of my booth before. Like I said, this is not my usual setup at all. I was barely able to put anything out. It was a really sad booth, but it is what it is. This is my booth before the market, and this is probably the saddest booth setup I've ever had. This was my view from sitting behind my booth, and it doesn't even show how windy it was, but you can see how there's not a ton of people walking around and shopping. But this market, even though it was so windy, it was super, super fun because I love dogs and I got to pet a ton of dogs, and they had the animal shelter there with dogs for adoption, and fosters were there bringing their dogs to hopefully get adopted as well. And then the super cool thing, because it was about Canine Veterans, they had the police department bring 2 of their police dogs, and I was really excited to see them because how often do you get to see a police dog up close? Probably never. So I went up to see them, and people were looking at them, and so I asked the guy, I said, am I allowed to pet her or no, because like I know she might be working or because she's in her uniform or whatever? And he's like, no, yeah, you can pet her. And I was so surprised. I did not expect them to let me pet her. So I actually got to pet both of them, and they were super cute. I got pictures of them to show you guys. And so I think that was a really unique experience that I got to do. So that was really cool. Also, if you saw my reel, it was a few weeks ago. Honestly, it has been a while since this market. I have been so busy that I didn't film it until now. So anyways, it's been a while, but I will link the short or the reel in the description so you can see it. But it was so funny. There was a person in a dog costume that had previously been like on the corner of the street telling people that there was an event, and like somebody had a sign and like, come this way to the event. And so after a while they like took a break, and I got a video of them sitting across from my booth at the break, and it was just so funny. Somebody commented on TikTok that they thought it was scary and they would have been terrified. I'm like, I didn't think it was scary. I thought it was funny. And because it was so windy and this was a new event and in a new location, I really wasn't sure what to expect, and not a ton of people came out, sadly. And so I wonder if it might have been the wind that was deterring people, and then also maybe people just didn't know about it. And I'm pretty sure that the guy said there was going to be like a radio station there, or they were going to talk about it on the radio or something, and I didn't see one, so I don't know if that ended up happening or not. Maybe that's part of the reason why not so many people came. I'm not really sure. And then with not very many people coming, plus me not being able to display all of my plushies, that just isn't the formula for a great market. So I did sell a few things. I didn't sell a ton, but I will go ahead and get into what sold. So the first person bought 2 items. They got the pink Aura bunny, and this was the light pink one. And I am glad that this one sold. Everyone really, really loves these. I was so close to selling a second one of these because someone really, really wanted it, but I just sold the one today. And then they also got a small cat, and this was a gray and white variegated one. I think it was the ones where I did mostly white and then I did spots with the gray variegated. So those sold together for $55. The cat is $15 and the bunny is $40. Next, I sold a pop mushroom, and this was an orange one, and it sold for $15. Next, I sold one of my rainbow variegated bees, and I realized at this point that was my last bee, and so I definitely need to be making more for my Pride market that is coming up super, super soon. So I did go ahead and order some more of that rainbow yarn, which sadly, since Joann's is closing, I can't get it there. And I looked online and I ended up getting it on Amazon, but it was almost $15 just for one skein, which is crazy. So I'm probably going to be making a lot of smaller items with this skein, or maybe something where I use some of the rainbow and some of another color, because it is just too expensive to be making like a giant plushie with that. And then the last thing that I sold was one of my large Peeps, and this was a pink one, and it sold for $20. So I was editing the video and I realized that I forgot to tell you guys a couple things. So one, there was this girl that had so many dogs. She had like, I don't know, 7 to 10 dogs, and they were so cute. And she stopped at my booth for a while, and so I got to pet all of them, and they were so cute and they were all so fluffy. So I think I got a picture of some of them, but some of them like you couldn't even see because there were so many there close together. So the other thing that I had to tell you is that there was a medical emergency at this event. So one of the vendors, like 2 spots down from me, she had a seizure, and the guy that was at the booth next to me had to call 911, and this lady like passed out and had a seizure, and once she woke up, she said she's never had a seizure before. So we had to call 911, and because it was so windy out, it was really sunny. But because of the wind, everybody put their tents down or didn't bring tents. One person's tent flew away, but they got it back. So anyways, with that being said, there was like 2 sides of the market. And on my side, there was no one other than me that had a tent. And so they were like, we need to get her into the shade until the paramedics get there. And so they were going to try to have her walk to the other side to get under a tent. And I was like, no, just have her come under my tent, since it was only like 2 booths away. And so she came under our tent, and she was able to like walk a little bit to get there. And so she sat in my seat. So then we had to wait for the paramedics. So then the fire truck came, then the ambulance came. And so that was kind of a crazy thing that happened at the market. But the lady was okay after. I think she went to the hospital to get checked afterwards, but it was just kind of crazy. And so I definitely never had that happen before. But I'm glad that it all turned out like okay. Like she woke up afterwards, and I think she was even able to drive herself to the hospital and not go in the ambulance. So it turned out okay, but it was kind of a crazy situation. But anyways, I will get back into the video. So in total, I only sold 5 things at this market, which is not at all what I was hoping for, but I didn't know what to expect. So it's not that big a deal, and I did get into the market for free, so there was no booth fee, which is good. Of course, I would have liked to make much more than that, but I don't know. It is what it is. It was just a crazy day. And I really did have a ton of fun at this market. So I am definitely glad that I did it, but I am really hoping that my upcoming markets, I will be able to make some more money, because at this point it is not going well for this year. I am not making anywhere near as much money at the markets as I used to last year or the year before. So I'm not sure if it is just people are not wanting to buy as much, people aren't going to the events yet. I really don't know what it is, and I am really struggling with it, but I have got quite a few events coming up, and so I am just really crossing my fingers and hoping that they will be much better than my previous ones for this year so far. I did forget to mention the total. My total was $105. So yeah, not great, but I didn't have to pay the booth fee. So I want to know if you guys sell at markets. I want to hear how you guys have been doing so far this year. I've heard that quite a few crochet vendors have been doing not so great so far this year, and I'm hoping that some of you are doing well. I'm not really sure what it is that is preventing so many people from making sales, but hopefully it will get better soon in the spring and summer once it warms up and more people are ready to go out and go to markets and purchase stuff. And if you've watched this far, please go to the comments and leave a heart. I love seeing who watched my videos to the end. I really, really appreciate it. And I have so many more market vlogs that you guys can watch. So I will put up the playlist for my market vlogs. I think I have over 30 market vlogs already that I have done, and I have more coming up soon. So if you want to see those, make sure you're subscribed. And then on this side, I will put a video that YouTube recommends just for you. Thanks for watching.